Hey, Eric. Sorry I wasn't available yesterday.
That's okay.
Okay, what's up?
Go ahead.
I didn't want to meet with you. You wanted to meet with me.
Oh, well, I was hoping you might be able to explain the eviction notice.
Couple of things. I'm not comfortable with some of the social media posts that you're making. They come off hostile and threatening in nature.
How so?
Calling my business and me personally by name as incompetent, as
Incompetent?
I might be using the wrong word. My business is terrible. You're going to take me down. I've got people in my back pocket.
I never said I was going to take you down.
Okay. So you're not hostile on social media toward my business or me?
Hostile? No.
Okay. Well, we're going to agree to disagree on that.
Okay.
So there's that.
Okay.
And I think you've been hostile toward my maintenance person. I will not defend everything about my maintenance man. His lack of timeliness is understandable. Extremely understandable.
His lack of timeliness? What do you mean?
When he says he's going to be there and then he's not, and he reschedules.
Oh, no. As far as scheduling goes, Brad and I have been great.
Well, not initially though. Initially, there was, I think, a rub that he was supposed to be there.
The only issue we had was when him and Sam were inspecting the wall. He had gotten loud and disrespectful towards me and my home.
And see, and I wasn't there. So the version that comes back to me is a little different. And then there's videos, and you're kind of like saying things to maybe, in my opinion.
Okay.
You were saying things to kind of entice him, to kind of get him to bite, to get angry and upset.
That's one way of putting it. However, the full video may depict a different picture. Was there any other reason for eviction?
Well, it's those things, and then I honestly just don't think you're going to be happy there. I just don't think that anything we do, any amount of care that we do, is going to be enough. I think you're always going to want more. You're going to want to video everything. You're going to want a safety contract for him. You're going to want to record all of my conversations. It's with 250 properties and 465 tenants. It's above and beyond what other tenants require.
So me keeping record of making sure the health and safety of my daughter and myself are taken care of is personally to you offensive.
What's offensive to me is the fact that you seem to know more than anyone else.
I never claim to know more than everyone else.
It comes across that way.
That's your opinion.
Yes, that's my opinion.
Okay, so do you have a legitimate reason for...
And lastly, if I want to use the clause in the lease agreement for being convicted of a felony, I can use that.
Oh, okay. Feel free to use that, because I've never been convicted of a felony.
Okay. And then that's what, if we end up in court, that's what we'll do. We'll discuss that, and then we'll see if the judge sides with me or you.
So why don't we get to the real reason why you want me evicted? It has less to do with your feelings and more to do with your mother, Sue, the owner.
My mom hasn't even been in town.
The owner of the home in which I reside.
Yeah, she hasn't even been in town.
Whether she's been in town or not, she is still furious about the work orders that I have placed, because she has had to spend, or has had the prospect of spending, thousands of dollars repairing moldy walls, rotting floors, and damaged plumbing, none of which I caused.
Right. No, I would agree with that.
Okay. So she is furious about.
Wait a minute. Where does that come from? Have you had direct conversation with her?
I have not, but I have. I have not.
And that's your opinion.
However, I have spoken to a previous tenant.
Okay.
A previous tenant who lived in one of your homes when
Okay.
your mother was running the place.
Okay. Well, I don't know what that would have to do with me.
And that conversation led me to another name, Peter Jakovich. You know him.
Well, we all know him. He's the judge that resides in Mecosta County.
Yeah. He's also the same judge who intentionally withheld evidence that would have cleared me of a charge that he made sure I was convicted of.
And I don't, that has nothing to do with me.
I agree. However,
I don't hang out
between
with
you,
Judge Jakovic, I don't even.
However, between you feeling disrespected and your mom feeling furious about having to spend thousands of dollars,
I don't know where that comes from.
in repairing legitimate things in the home, you felt it necessary to jump to an eviction.
Again, the reason that I served you is because I feel that you're hostile. I feel that your social media posts are damning to me, our company, our business. And I don't think that we could do enough to make you satisfied and happy.
So you feel that by me, one, recording our conversations that you said you had no problem with.
I don't.
And two,
I'm sure this one is.
and two, keeping record of things going on in my home to ensure the health and safety of my child and my daughter. You feel offended by that. That has nothing to do.
That isn't what I said to you.
That is what you said.
No, it isn't. It said you're being hostile.
I'm not being hostile.
Well,
that is your feeling.
And you know what? And when you say my mom is furious spending thousands of dollars, that's your opinion.
And here's another thing I know.
Well, do you want to respond to that though? Because my mom has nothing to do with that. She has not said she's furious with you. I doubt she would know you by name.
So let me ask this. When I was renting the unit behind me, 1019 Fuller, I've rented for, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
And we never had an issue, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I was away for a few months, and then I moved into 1017 Fuller. Okay. Since moving into 1017, your mother has numerous times hassled me over having a second vehicle which I have not had for more than a month on the property. And she threatened.
Sue or Dorothy?
Sue, your mother.
Okay. Well,
I had a.
Just
I
that's
had.
why I'm asking.
Sue, your mother, I had recorded. I have record of. She said that she was only giving me 7 days to remove that second vehicle, or she was going to have it towed.
Okay.
So that put me in a rush to do something about it. Okay. Not only that, she hassled me over parking my vehicle in the same exact spot that the previous tenants have parked for years. And she claimed that it was a safety hazard for emergency personnel.
I wish I knew more about that earlier on. I don't know about that because I wasn't there, so I really don't know about that.
And she had also increased the price of the washer and dryer twice within less than a year and a half.
Okay.
I'm not finished. She has done all of these things ever since I have been convicted of a crime I did not commit. And it is all because you have all been working with Peter Jakovic ever since he was a prosecuting attorney for the district court here.
We do work with him because who else would I work with? He is the judge and he was the attorney.
Yes,
so I don't have a choice.
and you guys make sure you find every illegitimate reason to make sure that the deposit money from as many tenants as possible stays at Silverneck.
Did you get your deposit
for example,
on your last one? Did you get your deposit back?
No, I did not.
You didn't get any of your deposit
No, I did not.
back? Huh.
And speaking of deposit, am I expected to receive my deposit back once I move out.
Yeah, so by law, your deposit is returned to you after you move out and after we inspect the property. And what we'll do is we'll take that move-in sheet that you used when you moved in there, and we'll, like, for example, if it says, you know, holes in the wall or a doorknob not working or a scratch here or a ding here or a whatever, and we see those things, then obviously we can't charge you for those things. If we see something that wasn't on that sheet that is damaged, then that's how we could apply that. So
Okay.
that's our process. That's any, you know.
Okay. So to summarize, you are evicting me and my 10-year-old daughter because you personally feel like I have been hostile. When this entire time, all I have been asking from you is professionalism, respect, and proper communication.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you're asking from me? Because
That is.
It doesn't sound like that's what you're asking.
I haven't shared everything on TikTok because I'm still gathering information.
Well, we see that. We see that you're gathering a lot of information. So to suggest that all you're doing is just trying to live a very easy life and be is a little far-fetched when you go off literally on TikTok.
I go off?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Pull up any of your videos. Any
Go ahead.
Of them.
Go ahead.
I don't have TikTok. I honestly do not have TikTok. I'm reacting to video clips that are sent to me from private citizens who are concerned.
So you are personally reacting instead of being professional.
Yeah, because
based off how
you're attacking my professional.
I am attacking you.
Yeah. Silvernail Realty. You're naming us by name and saying how horrible we are.
That's my right to say you by name.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not attacking
you. But that isn't why you're being evicted. If you're listening, there's a number of reasons. I don't think we could possibly make that home satisfactory to you.
That's your personal opinion.
Correct.
Okay, so your personal opinions are getting in the way of your professionalism.
It sounds like yours do often as well.
I'm the tenant.
Yeah. And you're the owner of a business.
I am not obligated to remain professional as the tenant. And this entire time, all I have been asking for is respect and professionalism, yet you continuously prove the opposite by telling me that you are sending a maintenance man to my home after hours to schedule a date and time when you could have done it yourself. And saying, well, if the maintenance man knocks on your door and you don't answer, that's on you. And in response to that, I sent you a screenshot of the forecast for the upcoming week, and I gave you a scheduled date and time for the warmest and driest day of that week for the maintenance men to work outside, so they're not working outside in the cold or in the snow or in the rain.
Which was thoughtful. Honestly, it really was. Sometimes that works for us and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, so
emergencies will pop up.
So I will admit, occasionally I have been a bit sarcastic with my text responses, but you cannot deny that you have been disrespectful towards me during
texting messages or
throughout your text messages.
I will disagree with you on that. I don't think I've ever been disrespectful.
Okay. So, I already know that if you have to take me to court over this, that I know you are confident you will win because of the fact that the judge who will oversee the case will be Judge Jacklipit.
Yep, he's our district judge.
And since I cannot afford the lawyers I would need to fight the case, lawyers, plural, and I don't have enough legal knowledge to represent myself, the only option I have is to be appointed a court-appointed attorney, which, by the way, would be Dennis Duval. And Dennis Duval and Peter Jacklipit, they work together as well. In a similar way that Peter has been working with you and your mother for decades, making sure you guys can get away with whatever you want.
True. that's an assumption, but anyway, let's assume that's true.
You stuttering and looking left and right is
not
telling me that
I have no
that
other choice but
I'm
to-
onto something here.
You're not. I have no idea who the public defender would be. I don't know that name you mentioned.
It would be Dennis Duval. Yes,
I don't
you know.
that. No, I do not. I've never met that gentleman.
Dennis Duval is the only one of two court-appointed attorneys who works at the 77th
I
District
don't
Court.
deal with attorneys.
And since
in
you
court,
work
so
closely with Peter,
I don't work closely. What would you
Then-
define closely? Define closely.
you actually mentioned it yourself. You have worked with him a number of times.
I have no
throughout
other
the years.
choice. He is the judge for Kent County, or I'm sorry, what county? Mecosta County and Osceola County. I don't have a choice, but I can't go and say, well, I don't want to be in front
He's
of.
not the only judge.
He's the only one that hears ours. I don't know who the other judges are. He's the only one who's ever been there. Him and Tom Lyons, who's the magistrate. Those are the only two people I've ever been in front of. Not because I've asked or not asked. Those are the people who, when I take somebody to court, it comes back and says, log into here and here's your judge. I don't ask for a judge. You can go down and ask the court clerk about that. You maybe ask, is there another judge that could hear us? It doesn't have to be Judge Jaflovic. I don't care.
Had you been respectful and professional this entire time, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Possibly.
Thank you for
I
admitting
don't know that I was disrespectful in any way, but I think that had there not been an issue with the window, and which opened up a can of worms once we got into the window and found more and more to do, I think had that never happened, we probably wouldn't be here. I don't believe I've ever been unkind or disrespectful to you or any of my tenants.
Evidence suggests otherwise.
Okay. So, if we go to court, that's for the judge to decide how he sees the case. If you choose to leave before that, you will likely need a landlord reference. And if this continues to go south, I don't know how I can give you a good reference.
So if this goes to court, then I would have no other choice but to find another place to live. And seeing as how this is a college town, where most every other place available would not be available until August, that would mean my daughter would be without a home until August.
Could be. I hope that isn't true for you.
Well, you are putting me in this position.
You have put yourself in that position.
No, you have put me in this
All right.
position based off how you feel, instead of being professional.
Well, maybe not posting all over town and running your mouth about all kinds of things would have served you better.
You mean sharing
Would have served you
sharing everything that I have gathered regarding
And
mold?
again, we've agreed to disagree on a lot of things here today. So that's why you go to court, right? Is disagreement.
You and I both
Somebody
know
else
if
gets
this goes to court, I would lose. You know that. I know you know that.
I hope you would lose, because that's why I would take you to court.
You hope
Why would I
would
take you
lose.
to court if I thought I was going to lose?
Why would
That
you
would be
evict?
silly.
Why would you send me an eviction notice based off how you feel about our conversations through text message?
I've already explained why I sent it.
Instead of speaking to me either over the phone or in person, and try and resolve some kind of middle ground.
I've already explained the reasons behind the eviction. I'm not going to say it for the fourth time. You can go back in your notes and get to it, because I've explained it like 4 times. You're just trying to get me to say it a different way, which is fine. But you already have it recorded.
Again, all I have been asking from you is professionalism and respect. And by sending me an eviction notice based off how you feel shows a severe lack of respect and professionalism on your part.
Okay.
Why would you do this? Why would you go this far?
I've already explained it. But you
No.
can-
You explained how you feel.
No, I've explained why.
But why would you take it to an extreme like evict a tenant based
already
off how you
explained that.
feel, and instead of trying to resolve this as respectful adults, either over the phone or face to face. Why would you not choose to try and have a conversation?
Because of the tic-tac rants. I'm not comfortable trying to have a conversation that has been skewed in such a way that it doesn't represent me.
Okay, so you are offended that by me posting what I post is making you look bad and your business look bad.
I'm not afraid of that, but yes, it does.
So you're concerned.
That isn't why I'm evicting you.
Okay, so
But
professionally,
it's why I won't have a conversation with you.
professionally, how has that affected you? How has that affected your
What is it that you
business?
need from me here today? Because my time's winding down, and I feel like I've answered all of your questions numerous times.
I'm just trying to figure out why you did not take the steps, at least one step, one attempt to have a conversation like we're having now, instead of jumping straight to an eviction.
Well,
you explained why your reasons why you feel you need to evict me, but why did you jump straight to eviction instead of try and have a conversation?
I didn't feel it would go anywhere based on what I was seeing in text and on TikTok.
You see, that's where you had me wrong.
Might be.
You jumped to an eviction notice based off how you felt, instead of giving me the respect and the opportunity to actually talk to me about it.
Well, I think you would agree that sometimes it puts people on edge when you say to them, I'm going to record your every move, I'm going to hold you. It's a little offensive to have that.
Because you were concerned it would make you look bad. I understand that.
Oh, I
I understand
have a
that.
good reputation in town.
I don't. Your reputation doesn't have anything to do with you jumping straight to an eviction.
True.
I am a good tenant who pays my rent on time every month.
True.
And reports legitimate work orders as soon as I find out about them. And I go a step further and make sure that scheduling is done properly so I can be present when anything is done, because I refuse to have somebody I do not know in my home without me present. And you felt disrespected by that.
No, if you'll
Yes, you
listen
did.
back, I think you'll see why I did.
No,
what I did.
you felt disrespected by that.
I don't know what I can say to you that's gonna, I'm trying to hear you out, and I'm not going to change my mind. I think what I want to end with is by saying, if you would like to start looking for another place, and if a landlord calls me, what I would like to be able to say to them is, Eric's rented with us from here to here, and from here to here, he's always paid his rent on time.
So
I don't want to have to go further.
would you compromise on some sort of middle ground on having respect and professionalism from here on out, and me not being evicted, or you? So you're adamant
Yes.
on having me evicted,
Yes,
based on how you feel,
based on everything we've already discussed. Mm-hmm.
which is how you feel. That shows a severe lack of professionalism and respect towards your tenant.
I don't know what your background is. You've already indicated it's not construction, but you have a lot of strong opinions on that. And now you have a lot of strong opinions on how I should act as a business.
And had we actually had a conversation, about the work your your only maintenance man
I don't know what only
has done.
has to do with anything. But anyway, go ahead.
Your only maintenance man has done, and the people he has had to subcontract. Had we had that conversation, I would have shown you that I apologized for me being wrong about water being inside part of the outside wall, and 2, showing respect towards your maintenance personnel and making sure they were taken care of while they were working by giving them and offering them food and something to drink.
That was nice.
Again, respect and professionalism. That is all I have asked for. And time again, you have shown a lack of it. As an example, you are kicking me out. You are evicting me based off how you feel.
I think when you do listen back to the tape, you'll see that there was more than one reason. You want to perseverate on one thing.
What I post on my social media account is my business. And
well, you're putting it out on a social media, but I mean, by definition, social media.
Okay, and how is that affecting you?
Again, I think you're honing in on one thing. And I think if you listen back, you'll find out that I've given you 3 different things.
Yes, one of those is which you feel disrespected by me posting what I post on my social media account.
I think you're hostile when you make posts.
You feel that I'm hostile.
And you even use the word, they'll have to kill me.
Oh, you seen that last night.
So, I mean, it's a little more than when you say, well, I'm not hostile. I just want clear and good communication. You know, you're a little bit playing the victim in that.
I'm not playing the victim. I am sharing my side.
Well, I'll look forward to tonight's post.
Aw, so you are watching my TikTok.
I don't have TikTok. I have a number of concerned friends who have TikTok who are worried.
Aw, some people are concerned. Aw, how nice.
Okay, and then that sarcasm I'm out.
Have a good day.